Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to volume 1 of AskLee. For those of you who haven't watched the video before this, AskLee is a new thing on the channel and it's going to be an opportunity for you guys to ask me questions and for me to answer those questions in a video like this so that I don't have to answer in text by replying to your comments and things. It's sometimes quite difficult to explain things using just text. So anyway, we're going to get straight in with the first question, and it's from Deepesh MGR. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but yeah, Deepesh MGR says, I need that dog. Thank you. Not really a question, but the dog's not for sale, but I like him as well. He's cool. Cheers. Connor is a guitar player, says, if you could have any guitar in the world, no matter what the price, what would it be? I'd have to say, Connor, probably a Loudon 35 series. That's a guitar that I was really looking into before I bought my Taylor. And I really, really do like the Loudon stuff. They're a company based in Ireland, and they're all hand-built over there by the team. And they're just wicked, wicked guitars. I look them up and just see even what they look like on a photo. Just amazing guitars. If not that, probably something by Nick Benjamin, who makes Newton Faulkner's guitars. If you've not seen Newton Faulkner, go and check him out as well. He's a great acoustic guitar player. He does all that percussive stuff, and he's got all the chops and stuff. He's wicked. So yeah, both of those brands, you're looking at $3 or $4 grand for a guitar. So that's the reason why I don't own either of those at the moment. Alex Morgan says, how old were you when you started playing the guitar? I was 9, Alex, so that would have been in 1997. Alex Morgan also asks, who is your favourite guitar playing musician? That is actually a really, really difficult question for me to answer, Alex, purely because I tend to go through phases when it comes to music, and I get stuck in a rut with one band, so I've got loads of different favourites that I sort of go in and out of phases of, so... and also, my favourite guitar playing musician doesn't necessarily mean my favourite guitar player, if that makes sense. For example, Neil Finn from Crowded House is probably one of my all-time favourite musicians, like all-rounded musician really, because he's a great singer, a phenomenal songwriter. He's not really known for his guitar playing, if you know what I mean. So, but he's definitely up there, along with Noel Gallagher, who was one of my biggest influences when I was learning to play the guitar. I pretty much learnt their back catalogue, Oasis back catalogue, as the first bit that I learnt. So he introduced me to songs that I could play, even though I was a beginner. So he's not really rated as a lead guitarist or a guitarist at all, just his songs are super, super simple. And Oasis songs are a great place to start, definitely. But other than that, with regards to like rock stuff, electric guitar work, Matt Bellamy from Muse is one of my all-time favourite guitarists. I think he's a great guitarist and equally as good on the piano as well. And his songwriting's just out of this world. Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 and Angels and Airwaves has been one of my biggest influences as well. With regards to acoustic stuff, Newton Faulkner, that I mentioned before. Ed Sheeran, obviously, I do a lot of his stuff, so he's a big influence as well. I love stuff like Ben Howard and Damien Rice and things like that as well. So yeah, a big range of stuff, really. Dave Bridle asks via Instagram, how do I become handsome like you? Please help. Dave is actually a friend of mine, so I'm not going to take this question too seriously, but while we're on the subject of that, I don't think anybody should try to be like somebody else. You can try and aspire to be successful like somebody else, but I don't think you should ever try and copy somebody else's style or look or the way they are, or I think you should just be yourself. And as soon as you start to copy somebody else, you're never going to be as good at being that person as that person is, because that is them. So you should be the best you that you can be. And that's a really serious answer to a silly question. Joe Honda asks, your dog is amazing. What type of breed is he? Cheers, Joe. I think he's amazing as well. He's called Bobby, if you were wondering, and he's mainly Bodeguero, which is a Spanish sort of campo dog, but he's a mongrel, really. He's just a mix of everything. I chose him because of his bounce. He does this bounce thing. And he's a rescue. I've had him since October. My girlfriend and I adopted him in October. Guitar Freak says, do you write/compose original songs? And if yes, will you upload them on YouTube? I do actually write my own stuff, and I will be uploading them to YouTube at some point. I've got a few demos and things, but I don't really want to upload demos to my channel because I think it should be like the finished product. But maybe I'll do some live stuff of my own songs like really soon. But in the coming sort of months or whatever, I intend to do some proper recording and make videos to go with those songs. So yeah, stay tuned for more stuff coming soon. Guitar Freak also asks, how did you learn guitar? Self-taught or with a guitar teacher? I'm mainly self-taught, but my dad has been in bands since way before I was born. So there's always been guitars lying around in the house just since I was born. So I'd say he's the reason that I play guitar and sing, the reason that I accompany myself and mainly play rhythm guitar. And he did teach me the first few chords or whatever. He used to draw the chord diagrams on pieces of paper and send me off to learn them, and then I'd come back to him about half an hour later asking for more chords, and I sort of got into it that way. And then he bought me like the Oasis chord books and stuff, so I learnt those back to back, and bought me my first guitar and all stuff like that. So mostly it's his fault that this channel exists. It's your boy Rich Taylor asks, hey Lee, I mentioned you in one of my videos, so go check it out. It's the newest video on my channel, tell me if you like it. Thanks Rich, it's not really a question, that, but for those of you who don't know, which is going to be everybody, Rich is actually a buddy of mine. He lives about half an hour away, and about 2 years ago I was playing in his hometown, I think he lives there, and he got up and asked me if I could accompany him to sing. He wanted to sing a song, he wanted me to accompany him on the guitar. I didn't know the song that he chose, and he got up and did it anyway, a cappella, which I thought took balls, to be fair. And then about 2 years later, he turned up at one of my gigs again. I recognised him straight away, and he said that he'd been learning to play the guitar since our first encounter, and he got up and played a song, and he's done that at 2 or 3 of my gigs since. He's got a far, far better voice than I had at his age, so go check his channel out, by the way. It's your boy Rich Taylor. I'll link his channel below in this video. Jamie Bland says, I have a loop pedal where you can only plug one input in. I want to plug a microphone and my guitar into it. I have tried out some two-way splitters, but they never seem to work well. What should I do? I would say the only sort of option, well, the only option without buying a loop station like mine, the RC30, would be to use a Boss LS2. I think the line selector is called. But I mean, you can plug a guitar and a mic into that and take one output, and you can even set the levels of the mic against the guitar. So that would be the perfect way of doing it. The only problem is that pedal is about €105 and the RC30 is like €180. So for the extra 75, I'd just get the pedal that does the job, if that makes sense. Other than that, I can't really think of any other way that you would do that, because the splitter, you're always going to have the problem where you can't set the volume of the mic against the guitar, so one's going to be too loud always. So my recommendation definitely would be to go for a Boss RC30. You will not be disappointed with that. Hubert Duke, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong by the way, asks, hi, I think you sing high notes very good. Thank you very much. So my question is, how did you learn it? And also, what microphone do you use with your loop station? Cheers. Thanks for the question. The easy part of that question is, what microphone do I use with my loop station? That's a Shure SM58. It's kind of the industry standard microphone. It's not the best microphone for the job, but it does the job, and I had one lying around, so that's what I use at the moment. And the other part of the question, how do I sing high notes? I get asked a lot, actually, for tips, vocal tips, and I don't really know how to answer it. I never had any vocal lessons or vocal tutoring, so I don't know how to explain to somebody how I do what I do. To me, it's like explaining to somebody how to close your eyes. Other than close your eyes, how do you explain that to somebody, if you know what I mean? But yeah, I think definitely practice is everything. My brother started playing the guitar around about the same time as me, and he eventually moved to drums, but we were both vocalists at the time, and he never pursued vocals and I did, and now he will even admit that he sort of struggles with vocals quite a bit, and I can sort of hold a tune and stuff. So I do think practice is easily the sort of most important thing. Other than that, I don't know if you're referring to high notes as in falsetto or high notes as in belted chest voice high notes. But both of those really is one, confidence, I think, because when I first started doing my YouTube videos, a lot of people have said in comments, for example, that my vocals have improved, and I think that just comes with confidence. Before, I was holding back because I was worried about the neighbours hearing me and things, and now I just get the take done. It's better for me to do one take than have to do like 5 takes because I keep sort of trying to keep it quiet, if that makes sense. So sorry if it wasn't a great answer, that, but I don't really know how to explain how I sing. Oguzhan Soyizmin Apkan. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, which I definitely am. I'm really not good at this name thing. It's on the screen anyway, so you can see how it's spelt. But he asks, can you make a video for how to play loop pedal? My English is not good, I'm sorry for it. Your English is certainly better than my version of your language, so thank you for that, for speaking in English to help me understand it. Yes, I can make a video on how to use a loop pedal. I'll do that really soon. Thomas Simpkin asks, what country are you in? Because I thought you were in England until I saw the cars in this video. I live in Spain currently. I've lived here since 2006 when I was 18, and I live in a village on the Costa del Sol called Frigliana. Rainscream asks via Twitter, @TweedNelson, that's me, how was your journey to Spain in terms of planification, etc., and why did you think it was better for you to live here? At the time, I didn't think it was better for me to live here. I really didn't want to come here. My parents moved here. I was given an ultimatum. I could either start to pay rent in my own place in the UK or move to the Costa del Sol rent-free. I went for the easy option. But since that, it's been amazing. The planification thing, I didn't really do much of that. My parents did that. But since then, I've sort of done my own thing. Bought my first apartment with my girlfriend who's Spanish. So I wouldn't change any of it. But at the time, I really didn't want to move here. Felipe Vinicius says, what song would you choose to listen for 1 year over and over? Wow, that's a difficult question to answer. I would probably go for something that sort of brings back some kind of memories. Maybe something like Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen. That's a song that always reminds me of my dad. He's a massive Bruce Springsteen fan, and that song just grips me. And it's one of those songs that's a story, so I don't think I could ever get bored of that song. Still, every time it comes on, I just get goosebumps. It's a great song. So probably Thunder Road. GK Entertainment Australia says, hi Lee, when you're doing a cover with a loop, do you work out the bars in each section, chorus, verse, etc. before putting it together? I've tried some songs and I've found if you're using both loops on the RC30 and stop one for the chorus, for example, the bars in the chorus need to equal the loop, so when you start it again, it's at the right spot. So back to my two-pronged question. 1, how do you go about working out a song to loop? And 2, can you loop any song, not just the beat? Thanks in advance. By the way, love the covers. Keep them coming. Thank you for your question. It's actually quite a difficult question to answer. More difficult, I think, to explain to people who might not have understood the question in the first place. Pretty much what GK Entertainment Australia is saying is if you have one channel of the loop that's playing a beat and the other channel is playing, say, a riff that's only needed in part of the song, how do you arrange it so that when you drop the second channel back in, that it's always on time, so it doesn't start halfway through the riff instead of at the beginning of the riff? And that actually occurs in my cover of Let's Dance by David Bowie. I actually extend the chorus a little bit. So I think where the lyrics go, because my love for you would break my heart in two, if you should fall into my arms, if you should fall and tremble like a flower. So that bit there where I sing, if you should fall into my arms, if you should fall and tremble like a flower, The original David Bowie song actually only says "If You Should Fall Once." I've added the extra one in just so that the bass line that's actually stopped, obviously the loop's there, but it's following the drum beat. So I've added that in so that the stopped loop with containing the bass line lines up so that it comes in on time. Otherwise, if I play it the same as David Bowie, when I drop that back in, you catch the end of the riff before the beginning of the riff comes in, if that makes sense. Certainly the person that's asked the question will understand what I mean by that. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to change like that and think about, and that was one of them. Also, Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran, I had to buy a whole new Boss pedal to enable me to switch the tracks quicker just for that song. I bought that pedal just for one song. And in my tutorial for that, you'll see why I need that pedal. Chris Green via Instagram says, how do I remove turmeric stains from a pillowcase? I don't know. How do you remove turmeric stains from a pillowcase? Jack Robinson says, where in God's green earth are you walking? It looks awesome. When are we going to hear some originals? Can you do a Bernhoff tutorial of streetlights? That was actually a 3-part question there, Jack. The first part was, where in God's green earth are you walking? It looks awesome. That is my home village of Frigliana in southern Spain. And it is awesome, by the way, as well. When are we going to hear some originals? Probably quite soon, but I'm not sure exactly when it'll be, just because I don't know whether to do versions, like live versions of stuff here in this room as I do my covers, or whether to wait and sort of record something properly and make a proper music video, which is in the pipeline as well. And the last part of that question is, can you do a Bernhoff tutorial of streetlights? Don't actually know what that is, so I'll go and check it out and I'll let you know somehow. I'll try and do it. If that's a request, I'll try and do it. Minnie Moose says, Lee, can you please do a loop tutorial for Bloodstream? I'm having a lot of trouble learning it and you're a really good teacher. Thank you very much for that compliment there. And Bloodstream is a song that I've looked into playing, so watch this space. I'll try and get that to you. Verint Owari, sorry again if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm really not good with these names, says, hi from India. If you could bring back a dead musician to life, who would it be? That is a really difficult question to answer, and without sounding morbid, I think a lot of the musicians that have died have sort of, in doing so, created something magical in, obviously you wouldn't wish death on anybody, but for example, Kurt Cobain. If Kurt Cobain had never died, the Foo Fighters would never have existed. Things like that, I think, and also probably Nirvana probably wouldn't have the legacy that they've got as well. Kurt Cobain, in my eyes, was a genius when it came to the sort of music he was making at that time was just insane. And I still go back to it all the time when I'm having my angry moments. Serve the Servants is probably one of my favourite songs, by the way, if anyone was wondering that. But favourites that have died, yeah, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse should never have died. Probably Amy Winehouse, actually, because nothing sort of, no other bands came out of her passing. It was just a terrible loss that should never have happened. So maybe Amy Winehouse, or I don't know. There's been a lot of musicians that have died far too young. Chester Bennington as well was a recent one. Obviously, I did a cover of one of his songs, and yeah, he was taken way too soon as well. And I think people like that should probably have more help than they actually have. So, yeah, with regards to changing the past, I don't know. I'm all for the future, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know, really. Bard asks, what is fake singing? And also, are you going to do the Full Divide album? Thanks for the question, Bard. The 2-part question, should I add. What is fake singing? I'm assuming that you're referring to miming, which is pretending to sing to something, moving your mouth along to music. So putting a song on and going something like that. Bad example, I know. If not that, then you're referring to using like auto-tune or something, which is software that puts your voice in tune. Even if you're slightly out of tune, it tunes you to the pitch of the music. A lot of musicians use that, which is a little bit annoying, but I think most recorded artists use that to sort of drag them to be perfectly in tune for radio purposes. So at first I thought it was sort of cheating, but now I'm thinking maybe everybody's doing it, so why not, in a way. Personally, I don't know how to use it, so I've not done yet, which is why you hear a lot of imperfections in my vocals, but I like to keep it that way. It keeps it human. And the other part of that question was, are you going to do the full Divide album? Probably not, purely because, going back to the question before from Dave Bridle about, it actually wasn't a question about that, but I was saying about not copying people. I don't want to become an Ed Sheeran tribute act. I don't mind doing a few covers, but I don't want to just do Ed Sheeran, if that makes sense. I want to do my own thing as well, my own covers of what I want to do. Ben Priestley asks, what loop station do you use and what would be your ideal perfect guitar and loop station? I would say, well, first of all, the loop station that I use is a Boss RC30, and I really like that pedal. I think for my home use, for my YouTube use, I would probably prefer the RC300 just because it's more versatile and I don't have to carry it around anywhere. The reason that I prefer the RC30 for live use is that it's just more portable. And my ideal guitar and loop station, as I said, probably the RC30 for live use at the moment, unless I had a roadie to carry all my stuff and set it up for me, in which case the RC300. With regards to a guitar, probably the Loudon 35 series that I mentioned earlier, with either a Fishman Rare Earth blend pickup in the sound hole or the LR Baggs M1 Active that I already use. At the Source says, hey Lee, love the content you've been posting, it's awesome. Thank you very much. I do have a question though. Do you have any tips on singing higher notes and preventing cracks in your voice? Specifically when you did 7 Years by Lucas Graham. I find those high notes really difficult and was wondering if you had any technique for it. Thanks. Again, it's a really difficult one for me. I don't know how to describe or explain what I'm doing with my throat. I just sort of do it. I've been doing it for that long that it just happens. So obviously the answer that you really don't want to hear is practice, but it genuinely sort of is. And when I did 7 Years, actually, that was one of those old videos where I was trying to be quiet because I was conscious of the neighbours and stuff. So I'd say for that one, when I do it live now, I do actually get the cracks in my voice, which don't always sound terrible, but I do like how that song sounded on the video. So I think just trying to open the throat as much as possible. Sometimes I go to do videos in this room and I just can't seem to hit the notes and my throat feels really tight, and those videos never see YouTube just because sometimes I'm on form and other times I'm not. Sorry for the sort of cop-out of an answer there, but genuinely I don't really know how to describe what I'm doing with my voice. DC Hockage, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, says, hey Lee, I'm new to looping and pedals and all that, so I was wondering if you can tell me which pedals are the must-haves for a beginner. Also, I'm on a tight budget, so I would love it if you could recommend me some cheap, good pedals. P.S. I love your videos. Keep it going, man. Thank you for the kind words there, and thank you for the question. I don't really know if there are any essential pedals for a beginner. If you're a beginner and you're learning to play acoustic guitar, then I genuinely think you don't need any pedals at all. Acoustic guitar is an instrument that you should be able to play unplugged, completely unplugged. And yeah, I don't think there are any essential pedals with regards to that. Do you have a loop station already? If you can comment below and let me know if you've already got a loop station. In which case, yeah, if you haven't, obviously I'm going to recommend the RC30. I just think it's a great all-rounder and it can do things. The dual channel thing is really helpful, and you'll be able to follow all of my videos as well and be able to do that. With regards to electric guitar, if that's what you're learning to do, electric guitar pedals, I think when I'm playing electric guitar live, I just use my amplifier, which is a Blackstar HT Stage 60. It's the 60 watt valve one with two 12-inch speakers in it. I think it's called the Stage 60. But I just used the channel switch on that, so a really, really good overdrive sound, and there's a sort of distortion sound there as well, but pretty much the overdrive is the one from the amp for me. Other than that, there's a really great overdrive pedal from Marshall called the Governor pedal, which is great for overdrive if your amp can't handle a very good overdrive sound. Also, once I tried out a Boss adaptive distortion, I think it was called. That sounded wicked, but I'd probably go with the Marshall with regards to the overdrive sound. I just think it sounds great. And other than that, I don't think there are really essential pedals as such. A bit of compression maybe if you like that sort of Dire Straitsy sort of Pink Floydy sound. Compression is great. Also a bit of chorus maybe if you're doing clean stuff, but none of these are essential. They're just ones that you either like the sound of or you don't, or I don't think you need any of them, pretty much. So that's all the questions that have been asked so far. Thank you very much for everybody that sent in a question, and also keep them coming as well. I really want to keep doing different volumes of this Q&A thing. It's just something quite cool for me to do. I like to be able to talk to you guys. It doesn't even have to be music related. It can be about anything. Obviously, I've had a few about my dog today. So hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And keep those questions coming. Until next time, take care and see you soon. Bye-bye. Bobby! Come here.